So this is a 2023 Acura Integra A-Spec with the tech package. It is the 6-speed manual transmission, and the only way to get that is if you get the tech package and if you get the A-Spec package. And I'll show you exactly what those packages include here shortly. But just as an exterior look, very similar to the Civic Si. In fact, it shares the exact same output and engine as the Civic Si. You can see the exhaust outlets are the same. To me, it has more of the coupe look to it, and when we open up the trunk here, you can see it's a lot more different than the Civic Si, just with this open interior look here. The seats fold fully down, so there's a ton of space that you can have in the trunk of the Integra. Also says here the ELS Studio 3D sound system, which is a nice touch. And one of my favorite features of this car, the Integra is imprinted into the rear and front bumper, and I just think that's a really cool look. Look at the wheels here. Pretty nice looking wheel. The only, whoa. Holy hell, stay away from me. Look at that thing. This video would get more views if I just got stung by that, you know? But 18-inch wheels here. I think it's a good-looking wheel. I think it's a pretty safe wheel that just about everyone can get behind. The dimensions of the wheel are 235, 40, 18, so 18-inch wheel on a Continental Conti Pro Contact all-season tire. The all-season tire is really my only complaint about the car from the factory, but luckily that's something that's so easy to change. You would just get a lot more out of this car. Really, the tires that come on the Civic Si, the summer tire option, is really great. So what we're going to do is take this car for a drive, and I'm going to let you know how it is. Before we get too far into the video, I want to thank today's sponsor, INTOTHEAM. I've been sponsored by them for about 2 years now, and this is our Electric Desert t-shirt. It's a collaboration I did with INTOTHEAM. We took some design cues and the ideas from my channel and mixed it into this t-shirt, so it has a desert theme with an electric car and a spaceman. So that's great. So use code Gjeebs, saves you 10% on INTOTHEAM.com. Their end of season sale is currently going on, so you get to stack my discount on top of any discounts that they currently have on their site. So these print tees, they're very comfortable. Their basic tees are very comfortable. I know you'll be pleased with how these shirts feel and look. So go to INTOTHEAM.com, use code Gjeebs, INTOTHEAM. Thank you for sponsoring this video. Real briefly, I want to show you the infotainment system. Obviously, you're familiar with Apple CarPlay, but in this car, it has a couple different drive modes. So by pressing this switch up, we can go from 3 different modes. We can go from comfort, we can go to normal, and we can go to sport. Now, sport is what most of you are going to be interested in, but there's also individual modes. So we'll hit the individual button, and then if we hit customize, we're able to change all of these different options to set it up specifically for how we want to drive individually. So you can set your gauge cluster to the 3 different settings. You can do the idle, stop, start, which I always have on disable, just because when you come to a stop sign, the air conditioning can't go as cool because it can't use as much power. Suspension, I'm actually surprised. It has 3 different settings for suspension. To be honest, you can probably just leave it in normal. Sport, none of these suspension settings are like overly aggressive, which is nice. You have 3 different settings again for steering, and then your engine, meaning your throttle response, that's the differences there. It's really nice that you have these 5 options to customize and set up the car exactly how you want it. So now real quick into the center console area. Nice that the shifter has a little bit of leather here. That way when it gets hot, you don't burn the top of your hand. You have an option here. You have an escape route. Brake hold is essentially hill start assist. So if you're on a hill driving a manual transmission, when you let the brake off, the car will drift back. This will keep you in place. This is the automatic parking brake. This is the auto start-stop feature, and this is how you change the drive modes. Now that we've covered all that, let's go for a drive. All right, cars are still being made with manual transmissions, and that's a good thing. So on the interior of this car, really the only thing that kind of I don't like is that there's not a manual e-brake. Now, I'll take the manual transmission, we'll take that, but it's like I don't trust it. You know, when I set it, I'm like, okay, did it actually set? The interior really sets it off. The A-Spec package with these sports seats, there's ample room in the back, so I'm 6 feet tall. You can see I'm able to fit behind myself in the rear of the car. It digs into these turns. It's sliding a little bit because these are all-season tires. You can just feel it's lightweight. It likes to dance on the road. It has a limited slip differential, so that's going to help it really pull out of these turns with the 1.5-liter turbo. It is torquey through the mid-range, and you can feel it has the old-school Honda Acura feel with like the days of the RSX Type S. It has the mid pipe in here. You can just feel it and hear it. It really has a true Honda feel to it. Honda Acura feel, sorry. But it's just fun to drive. I don't know if this has the same lightweight flywheel that the Civic Si has. And I also don't know how much of a difference that's going to make. What I do know is this car is just easy and fun to drive. The old Hondas where you have to rev them out like crazy, you don't have to do that, yet these still have about the same horsepower. They just increased the torque. It's very enjoyable to drive. These days, the problem with cars is they are too heavy. And this is around a 3,000 pound car, so for today's standards, that's light. And just shifting the gears is so fun. Like I get a decent amount of press cars now. I'm very thankful for that, but sometimes I get a little jaded. I'm just like, I'm not too excited to drive that. I woke up excited. I was like, whoa, there's an Integra in the driveway, and I cannot wait to drive it. Just driving a manual transmission does that. And that's what I hope with this electric vehicle, takeover, if it does happen. I hope that there's a way to preserve what enthusiasts like, because it gives you an escape from it's a hobby. I just think it's important to have that tuner aspect of how fun these cars can be to drive, and I hope they can find that in electric vehicles. But back to this car, steering wheel feels great, leather wrapped steering wheel, Alcantara seats keep you planted nicely. The bolstering's not over cumbersome, and these are not really firm seats. You're going to be very comfortable in these. Overall visibility in the car is excellent. Great visibility in here. And then the miles per gallon, I was going 72 on the way here, just on the interstate. I was getting 45 miles per gallon. I didn't have the AC running because it was cool out and, performance. But the car is great. Now, the infotainment system, we're in sport mode. I wasn't even in sport mode there before. We're in sport mode. Has adaptive steering, so the steering just tightened up, and it also has adaptive suspension, so the suspension's a little bit tighter, just so you can be a little bit more precise. And also, the throttle response is slightly better. And this car, it's just fun to drive. It's priced at $35,000. It's a little higher than the Civic Si. The interior package here is much nicer, and so that you're certainly getting a little bit more. Either car is going to be really fun for you. This just has the more open hatchback feel, but the power is the same. Also, the way the springs are sprung, very comfortable on the interstate, but yet sporty as we're on a road like this. They just did a really nice job, and they did a nice job at making it feel like an Acura, the lightweight Acuras that we all love. And that's why this Integra name, I'm happy that they took that to heart and took it seriously, because they did a really nice job with this car. Just listen. Has a shift light. Basically, the tachometer lights up red when it needs you to shift. The mid-range power. And then again, because that right there, it has the torque to pull you out of those turns where you don't have to be above 6,000 RPMs. You can have crazy efficiency, great technology, great comfort and space and visibility in the car, and then it's fun to drive. What more can you ask for? This is excellent. And then it's affordable. It's 35 grand. So yeah, if you're looking into this car, I recommend it. This is exciting. This is something you'd be proud of. You could show off this car, and people would they would appreciate. They'd get in this car, they go, wow, it's a nice car you have, and it's fun to drive. Man, I just can't say enough good things about that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Let me know what questions you have. I'll get back to you in the comments below. I try to answer as much as I can. The next video we're going to be doing is comparing this Acura Integra to a Tesla Model 3, so click that video on the screen. I think you'll really enjoy it.